Trauma and Adverse Childhood Events. ACEs, or Adverse Childhood Events, include the following: exposure to any abuse, including physical, sexual, or emotional, exposure to violence in the home or community, emotional or physical neglect, sudden separation from a loved one, poverty, living with a family member with mental health or substance use disorders, and exposure to racism and discrimination. Research indicates that the more exposure you have to adverse childhood events, the greater risk you have for poor health outcomes, including diabetes, depression, sexually transmitted infections, cancer, and many other health conditions. Additionally, there's also a greater likelihood of risky behaviors, including drug use and unsafe sexual practices. Those who have been exposed to more adverse childhood events are less likely to graduate, and they also have poor socioeconomic outcomes. It is important to note that not everyone who is exposed to these ACEs has a poor long-term outcome, and that there are other types of traumatic events that can impact childhood. Kids have different responses to trauma. Picture a glass. This glass represents a child, and the water in the cup is all of the little stresses and pressures that build up through the day. Let's say you woke up late, you forgot an assignment, you don't like the school lunch, a friend said something mean, and so on and so on. Eventually, the glass is full, and when it spills over, that's when we start to see some challenging behaviors. But what happens if we have a more long-lasting stress? For example, like the ACEs. Imagine putting a rock in the cup. Now, if we try to put the same amount of water in the cup, it's going to spill sooner. Not everyone has the same size cup. Some cups are big, some cups are small, and some are in between. Our goal as occupational therapists is to teach skills and provide tools to help kids manage the water that they have in their cups. But what does it look like when the cup overflows? According to the CDC, children can have nightmares and difficulty sleeping. They can have angry or emotional outbursts. They could hyperfixate on a specific trauma, which means thinking about it constantly and acting it out in play. And then some other hidden ways that we might see this cup overflowing could be a child becoming more restless and fidgety. If they start having a really hard time focusing or paying attention, they become more disorganized or more sensitive to lights, noises, sensations, or other sensory input. Occupational therapy can help by teaching skills to kids and parents. We can teach skills for managing sensory strategies or skills for emotional regulation and provide a safe place to practice those skills and those strategies. Additionally, we can help address specific challenges such as changes in routines or difficulties socializing with peers, things that often occur with childhood exposure to trauma. Occupational therapy can be a helpful resource for parents and children experiencing difficult and unexpected life events. Work with your child's occupational therapist to develop a specific plan and find tools that will be appropriate for your child and their needs. Thank you for listening.